The next thing we do is spot removal. This is where we start to get into our very, very local type of corrections. These are traditionally what we can call local corrections, where you move in and start to work in individual parts of an image. And so that's the way you should kind of separate them in your mind. Is one is everything, and local is these very minute corrections. So for example, sake here, in this particular image, I'm going to get rid of that highlight just to show you how to use this here. This is the clone stamp or the healing brush. In this case, they call it the spot removal tool. So the way that all brushes work and all of these tools here work in Lightroom is that they end up allowing you to make the mark first and then allowing you to change it afterwards. So it's not permanent, right? We said Photoshop has this very permanent destructive quality to it, whereas Lightroom and programs like it kind of keep the image separate from the information. So in this case, I'm going to make a mark right here, just one single click, and it's set to heal, and see how it just blends it in together. What I have here is my source. It's coming from here and it's going here. Notice if I put it on something like this, it's going to try and put a blend of what's here and what's here, and it's reading the other areas around here, trying to come up with a replacement there. If I choose clone now, it's literally going to copy this and put it there. So I can go back to heal, and I can take this one and move it to a similar area, and it will basically use an algorithm and calculate what it's going to place inside that circle based off of where it's coming from. So you can see from this point, if you have any, you want to find something similar when you're using either of these brushes, but clone is an exact copy and heal is not an exact, but it's a mathematical equation to give you new pixels to put on top of the old ones. Feather is this outside brush I have here. So on the keyboard, if you hold down Shift, you can increase or decrease your feather. Right now, I can also just use the trackball on my mouse to increase the brush size. And then here I can increase or decrease. This will be decreasing my feather. So basically, the hard spot in the middle will be where the brush makes most of its marking, and then you're going to have like a feathering off or a tapering or a gradation off from the center to the edge, and that is what your feather would be called. All right, so then we would, once we're done with this in particular area, unless we have any other areas to work on, which I'm not seeing a whole lot of distractions that need to be removed at this point, maybe something like along this edge, but edges are very difficult, so let's give it a shot here. We'll give it a clone. We'll try clone here. And what I'm going to do is shrink my brush down to be somewhat similar in size. And let's see. And what I'll do is I'll draw straight up like this. And then it's going to copy from an area here. It didn't do terrible. But it's not doing too great right now. So what I can do is just keep trying to move this up. But you notice how it doesn't match there anymore. So let's see. What if I tried the same selection and changed it to heal? What would happen? It makes it a little brighter, but doesn't look too great. So I'm going to go back to clone. And then I'm going to go back to this one here. Move this one over slightly. See what that looks like. Doesn't really look too good. So if I don't like it, I can just hit delete right there. Easy thing to do is you can crop that out, but if you're really dead set on getting rid of that, we can shrink our brush down a little bit more and take this out in parts. Using the clone stamp would be probably the easiest at this point, because we can take something like this and do a direct copy from this area. And all we're trying to do is match up that little bit right there. So there we go. That matches up. Okay, if I hover off of it, it's got a little bit of a feather to it, so maybe increase it. No, that's a little too hard edge. That's not too bad there. That's alright. So I'll come back in and I'm going to make another mark here and take it out, like I said, piece by piece, if I can. I'm going to try. That's alright. Then maybe I'll try working down here. Let's see what that gives me. Not bad. I'll try and take this thing out here. I'm just going to try and put me way over here. So not what I want. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, right there. Let's see what that is. This is a little bit weird here. We got some repetition of patterns, but let's see what it looks like. Zoom out. It doesn't look too great. Got this little bit. You want to avoid creating these situations where you can see the repetition of the mark. So I'm going to try one more thing with this. I'm going to actually take, because I can't mark on this area where there's already an existing brush, that's kind of one of the weird things that Lightroom has. I can mark over here, right? And then I can take this brush and move it at any point in time, right? So I can take this, move it over here. I can take the source and move it around after the fact, kind of make it match up a little bit. So when I do that, it looks like it gets rid of some of that repetition a little bit. Probably need to do the same thing at the top here. Got this weird thing happening. So I'll go back in, clone it, but because I have some brushes in this area, it's going to be very difficult. So let's see, I'll make a new brush right there. Then I'll take the destination, put it right there, and I'll take my source. Down a little bit. Oh, that's too far down. Let's climb close. Let's take it. Still got a little bit of funkiness about it. Let's get rid of it. So this is another area in which you can spend lots and lots of time messing around with it, and that's fine. To do that, let me see what this does. So I'm going to delete that real quick. And then I'm going to delete this one real quick. Alright, so I got to just kind of get in there. Make a, like, essentially think of this as like a donor brush right here. Take mine, put it there. Move this right here. It's looking like it, kinda. So I'll move this down a little bit. Move this one down a little bit. There you go. There's a little bit left over, but we're gonna have to move on.